So here is even more that is bizarre about Usha Vance. So that Chilkuri, I don't know how to say her name, that's Usha. So if you go down the middle here, I mean, it says that she voted in Democrat primaries, but in 2022 she voted in the Republican primary. Big deal. But it says, according to the New York Times, her political views seem to have changed over the years, as in 2021, she made a political contribution to a national conservative, Blake Masters, for Arizona Senate elections. This is who Blake Masters is. Blake Masters is an American venture capitalist and political candidate, frequently referred to as a protege of businessman Peter Thiel. Masters co-wrote 0 to 1 Notes on Startups or How to Build the Future with Thiel in 2014, based on notes Masters had taken at Stanford Law School. He was later chief operating officer of Thiel's investment firm, Thiel Capital, and also president of the Thiel Foundation, which Vance is tied to that. So both of them. And this is strange. While at Yale School, Usha met her future husband, J.D. Vance, a relationship encouraged by their professor, Amy Chua. Vance described Usha as his Yale spirit guide because she was a critical source of support and encouragement in his academic and profession. But encouraged. And this is who this Amy Chua is. Chua is known for mentoring students from marginalized communities and for helping students get judicial clerkships. In 2018, Huffington Post and The Guardian alleged that Chua had advised female students to dress outgoing when seeking employment. Chua denied this claim. In 2019, Chua agreed not to drink or socialize with students outside of class for a limited time. In 2021, Chua was accused of drunkenly partying with students and federal judges. She agreed to a 1-year restriction of her teaching duties as a small group professor. Chua lives in New Haven, Connecticut, and is married to Yale law professor Jed Rubenfeld. Chua drew consternation after appearing to help Sophie secure a highly coveted clerkship with newly minted Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Chua had become acquainted with Kavanaugh while as a professor promoting students for federal clerkships. Chua also endorsed his Supreme Court nomination in an essay. Kavanaugh is a mentor to women, which she stood by after sexual misconduct allegations. So this woman, no wonder the education system is crap. So she encouraged the relationship, doesn't seem to have appropriate relationships, being, a mentor to students, but she has all these ties to getting clerk jobs for these people. And Blake Masters, well, his name is Blake Gates Masters. All going back to this Thiel Capital, Peter Thiel, all this crap. Yeah, these people are no good. A little bit more about Shu, also known as the Tiger Mom, is an American corporate lawyer, legal scholar, and writer. She is the John M. Duff Jr. Professor of Law at Yale Law School with an expertise in international business transactions, law and development, ethnic conflict, and globalization. She joined the Yale faculty in 2001 after teaching at Duke Law School for 7 years. Prior to teaching, she was a corporate law associate at Cleary, Gottlieb, Steen, and Hamilton. This is her. She was tied to these Confucius Institutes. I don't know if people remember, shortly after COVID, or maybe around the same time with COVID, a bunch of the universities came under fire for these Confucius Institutes. It's basically the way the Chinese Communist Party gets in the back door of the education system. Because again, communism doesn't come rolling down the streets in tanks. It comes in through the back door and just gets in the education system. These Confucius Institutes were known for that. Well, she's tied to that, because that's how she raised her daughters. Strict Confucius child rearing techniques, which she claims is typical for Chinese immigrant parents. So that's who pushed Vance and Usha together. So these people have dark ties. Usha does, Vance does, and all of it going back to the same problem that we have: globalization, which is communism on a global level. All of these people out of these crap universities that are tied to communism, and then have all these ties to getting people clerkships and getting these high gigs. Yeah, all of it is no good. And clearly this Chua that was a mentor that pushed Usha and Vance together, clearly I'm sure she's tied to the Confucius Institutes that have gotten into the universities. Those came under fire. I think they went after some of them. Yeah, we don't need the People's Liberation Army, which is the Communist Party of China, in the universities. The universities are bad enough without that. But some of them have these Confucius Institutes, because it's all about diversity. Yeah, we shouldn't be that diverse. It's that obvious. Too much diversity isn't a good thing. But yeah, I said I wonder if these two were like an arranged marriage. Maybe it wasn't arranged, but is it even in a marriage? Because it was some Hindu wedding kind of celebration. I don't know. It doesn't really matter whether they're married or not. They've been married since, I guess, 2014. Clearly, neither one of them are any good. They're probably the worst globalists in the world. And considering that's who Trump would pick, well, then he wanted to show the worst ones, because I don't think you could get any worse than these two. I mean, all tied to Peter Thiel, Blake Masters, all tied to globalization, all the Silicon Valley digital, wanting to take people into a digital global system. Yeah. The only possible reason that Trump made this pick is to put him out there. Otherwise he would, I think that he has enough class, Trump, that he's about his brand, like he's about being honest about his brand, who he is. So I don't think that he would go to these lengths to lie. He put the worst ones out there. And for those, I just learned this today, that the very last song that he played he picked all the music at the RNC, by the way. But the last song that he picked, usually it goes out with a big rock song. Well, it was from the movie Sum of All Fears. And what Sum of All Fears is about somebody that goes after their enemies. It's actually more closer to what happened. An assassination attempt takes place, and then the person they tried to assassinate goes after all of his enemies and kills them all. The song that was played at the end of the RNC was the song that played at the end of Sum of All Fears.